Hello, everyone, and welcome into the Butt Fumble Sports Daily Show. We've been away a couple days because of some illness, but we are back talking sports with you, sports betting, DFS, everything that you guys need to make the most of your sports viewing experience every single day. Welcome into all of our viewers across TikTok, YouTube, Twitch, and Kick. I hope you're having a wonderful end of your week as we're at Thursday. Unfortunately, no Thursday night football to get us closer to the weekend, but we do have our last Sunday of multiple football games, the AFC and NFC championship games. We're going to talk about the money that's coming in on those two games in a little bit. We'll also cover what is NBA rivalry week. Some big matchups tonight that we're going to cover. Make sure you're asking your questions around tonight's NBA games because we've done our research and we're here to give out some picks. When we hit 2,000 likes, we are going to give out our first round of picks of the day. Appreciate you guys being with us and welcome into Butt Fumble Sports. We're a sports content company created by a sports fan for you real sports fans at home, whether it's fantasy sports, sports betting, or just ranting about what's going on in the sports world. The major story, obviously, is Jim Harbaugh being signed by the Los Angeles Chargers to be their new head coach. Can't say I'm surprised by this. I've been predicting this one for weeks, largely because the sanctions that are coming against Michigan, Jim Harbaugh wanted no part of that. He was over the NCAA. He had won his championship. He had proven himself as a Michigan man. And by the way, he can go back anytime he likes. He has a ticket in perpetuity to be the head coach there in Michigan, no matter what the situation is. But I do think he wants a Super Bowl. It's the one thing keeping him from his brother's status. I also think it's really the one thing that's keeping him from Hall of Fame status in the NFL. He's certainly a college football head coach at this point. So that said, not surprised that he went to LA. What I love to see is that Justin Herbert finally has a competent head coach. I thought last year Sean Payton was going to go there and it would have been a perfect marriage between head coach and quarterback. It wasn't the case. Unfortunately, I think for Justin Herbert, he lost a season, but I think he got the right guy now. I think Harbaugh and Herbert are going to be a great duo, really in building up what Herbert can do, and frankly, building around him an offense that is going to be structured for success and not doing it purely off analytics. If you guys have a take about what's going on in sports, or if you've got a sports betting question, feel free to fire away. A lot of people over the last few days have been talking about Bill Belichick not getting a head coaching job so far. Are we surprised by that? Are we taking anything from that other than the pure fact that maybe Belichick's viewed as out of date? Maybe he's viewed as a little bit old. Personally, I feel like Belichick might be turning down the Falcons. I thought they would have hired him after the second interview. I think Belichick wants to go to the Cowboys, and I think he's a little disappointed, frankly, that they didn't move on from Mike McCarthy. I think that's the ultimate spot now where he ends up. Not this year, obviously. I think he'll sit out this year, and I think he'll be hired by the Cowboys after Mike McCarthy ultimately fails next year. I am surprised that the Falcons are willing to open up the race a little bit. If I were the Falcons, it'd be a no-brainer for me. I'd go Belichick, or otherwise I'd go Mike Vrabel. But I feel like the candidates are pretty obvious. It sounds like the Washington Commanders are going to go with Ben Johnson, the offensive coordinator of the Lions. So I can't say that's a bad pick. I think he's going to pair really well with a rookie quarterback. It would make more sense if they went after Drake May if it was Ben Johnson. But that said, I feel like Caleb Williams to the Bears, Drake May to the Commanders, and then it leaves the Patriots with Jaden Daniels. But as for the head coaches, why not Belichick getting hired by the Falcons? Makes no sense to me. What's up from Michigan? Go Lions. User 0366. You are having maybe the best month in your state's history sports-wise. Enjoy it as long as it lasts. CL, great to see you. Thoughts on Harbaugh and the Chargers? I was just talking about that just a little bit. I think it's a perfect hire for Justin Herbert. I'm really surprised Dean Spanos finally wrote the check that is larger than we all expected him to. He is known as one of the cheaper owners in sports. He literally shares a stadium with someone else who paid for most of it. So I think there's a lot of reasons why I didn't expect Harbaugh to go there. More because I didn't think Spanos would pay the money, but it's a perfect fit. What I really like about this is you get him when he is as motivated as your quarterback. He has legacy to build there as well. I think he's going to be very aggressive in how he tries to build that organization. I feel very good about the Chargers under Harbaugh. Jay Morris, Raheem Morris finalizing a deal to be a head coach. Thoughts? wow, I am shocked by that. I'm surprised by that. I don't think it's a very good hire. I think Raheem Morris is slightly overrated as a head coach. We've seen that experiment before. I think he's a decent coordinator. I don't think he's a very good head coach. But one thing I will definitely take away from this round of head coaching hires is the Rooney Rule is either working or we're finally past the point of it mattering because more African American head coaches are getting opportunities. So I'm happy about that, but I'm really surprised that of all the coaches that were available, you had 3 head coaches, 2 had Super Bowls, the third was a coach of the year and Mike Vrabel that I thought were better than Raheem Morris, so I'm really surprised by that. Austin, Lamar Jackson, or Mahomes. If we're asking about who's going to have the better performance, I wouldn't be surprised if it's Mahomes. Who's going to win the game? I'm going with Lamar Jackson. I think the Baltimore Ravens will ultimately win. CL, I think Belichick would have talked to Parcells and heard all he needed about Jerry. You know what? You could say that about Robert Kraft, and they had a 2-decade-long relationship. Bill Parcells and Robert Kraft left on terrible terms, so I don't agree with you, CL. In fact, I think sometimes Belichick can get along with personalities that Parcells cannot, in part because for all the ego that Belichick has, and he has a massive ego, he knows who the boss is. I think he grew up in a very military-focused family that understood who the commander-in-chief was. I think at times Parcells thought he was the commander-in-chief, God, the head of the military. I think he thought he was everything. So I think that Bill Belichick could actually fit better in Dallas, and I wouldn't be too concerned about it. If any of you guys want picks for tonight's games, every 2,000 likes we give out a pick. If you guys do have a question about sports betting, fantasy sports, or anything else, we're here for it. Majomes, think Vrabel or Bills to the Falcons? Well, we're hearing Raheem Mostert. Yeah, Raheem Morris. I keep making that mistake. Forgive me, Raheem Morris. I don't like the hire personally. I think it's a mistake, but leave it to Arthur Blank to have unbelievable opportunities with head coaches available and then hire the guy who's probably the least qualified, the least probably, I think, worthy of the job. Who do you think will replace Joe Barry in Green Bay? JP, it's a good question. I'd be curious to know what the Packers are trying to do defensively. If they're trying to get more aggressive, it's interesting who's available right now. I don't know the defensive coordinators as well as I should. Majomes, only Commanders and Seahawks left. Commanders are going with Ben Johnson. It's a pretty well-known secret at this point, so I don't think that he's going to end up there. Austin, I think Chiefs and Ravens are going to be high scoring. I don't think so. I'm actually going to go the other direction. I wouldn't be surprised if that game is lower scoring than people think and both defenses play well. Frank, how you doing, Frank? Hope you're having a great day. Let's see what Dom has to say. If you guys want to join the show as a guest, more than welcome to. Dom, what's good?
Hey, what's going on, man? I was just wondering, what's your prediction for the Chiefs and the Ravens game?
Well, I'm going to give my prediction, and I'd love to hear your take on it. So stay on the line, okay? So a couple of Ravens fans. Here's my take for that game as they jumped off. I think the Ravens are going to win that game. I think ultimately Patrick Mahomes makes a few mistakes, whether it's turnovers in the pocket or interceptions. I think the Ravens get the win. Normally, I lean towards who has the better defense in playoff matchups such as these. I think people overrate quarterbacks and their value, and I think they undervalue defenses. Defenses win championships. The Ravens have had the best defense all season long. They have an unbelievable linebacking core. And I actually think that makes the biggest difference against a Patrick Mahomes. You can apply pressure up front with a 4-man pass rush like people used to on Tom Brady. It's not as effective because Patrick Mahomes can move out of the pocket and run for yardage. Where Patrick Mahomes gets frustrated at times is where you have speed at the linebacker position and he gets caught not knowing whether he wants to throw or run the ball. I think there's a good opportunity for this Ravens defense to apply good pressure from that linebacker position or have spies who can go sideline to sideline and really cut down on Patrick Mahomes' ability to be a dual threat. So overall, I feel good about the Ravens. I think it is a very close game. Let's see what Austin wants to talk about. Austin's going to be our next caller up on the line. Let's see what Austin wants to shoot the shit about. Austin, what's good?
What's good, buddy?
How you living?
Oh, just waiting for time to pass by sitting here at work.
I got you. What do you want to talk about?
So, kind of, when you and I talked last week,
obviously talked about the Ravens and all that stuff in that game, how that was going to go. Actually, and
we called it right for one half. We were dead on for one half.
100%, 100% we did until the second half. Second half changed a little bit there, dude. But,
yeah, for real.
Coming up on this one, I really think the Ravens are going to completely, when it comes to the defense wise, I think the Ravens offense is going to pick the Chiefs secondary apart.
I think the biggest impact for me in this game when it comes to the Ravens offense is you got Mark Andrews back. So you're saying Isaiah Likely looks fantastic. He looks like a weapon all into himself. You have Zay Flowers looking like a stud. You didn't even use Odell last game. He was pretty much shut down. Rashad Bateman had one of his, he didn't have a great game, but like he is a viable option. And now you're adding arguably the best pass catcher in the entire offense. If I'm a Ravens fan, like this couldn't be coming together any better.
Agreed. So another thing is what I was thinking. If the Ravens can stop Isaiah Pacheco, I think
that's the game.
Are damn near sealed that
That's
game.
the game. I couldn't agree with you more. If Isaiah Pacheco runs for under 50 yards and doesn't score a touchdown, this is a 10-point Ravens win. I don't feel good about... Look, Marlon Humphreys is back. I think the Ravens are positioned perfectly. They're getting healthier on all sides of the ball. They're at home. I do think there's a stat out there that teams that have lost to Josh Allen in the playoffs have lost the following week. There is something to that, in that I do think playing the Bills takes a lot out of a team. It's not just the Josh Allen factor. The Bills' defense plays a very physical kind of game. It wouldn't surprise me that the Chiefs come off of that game with one less day of rest, and now they've got to travel again after being the road team in Buffalo. They've got to travel to Baltimore. There's just a lot about this that favors Baltimore to me. I understand Mahomes is a wizard against the spread as an underdog, and I'll probably take him at plus 4.5 just to be safe. But if I'm betting something very, very strong in that one, Ravens money line.
Agreed. And then, you were talking about the Bills defense, being a really, really hard game to go up against. Not only did you have the Bills defense last week, then you come up even to a harder defense coming this week.
That's right.
Arguably the number one defense in the league throughout the year.
That's all about physicality.
Exactly.
There's some nice schemes in there, like that's great, but no, this isn't a Bill Belichick defense where they're trying to beat you intellectually. No, this is a Terrell Suggs, Ray Lewis. We're trying to pound you into the ground, and we're trying to get you fearful of going over the middle. And if there's one thing that stands out about the Chiefs is, drops. What are drops a function of? I'm afraid to get hit. I'm afraid of who's around me. I don't have enough concentration to take in this pass when it's right in my hands because I'm worried about what's going on around me. Oh, do I think that's going to go up or down against a good physical defense? I think we both agree on that.
Am I going to catch this ball and get lit the fuck up?
That's right. Because, by the way, was Roquan Smith like the greatest steal in a trade over the last 10 years?
I was super excited about that when they signed him.
When they traded for him last year, I was like, oh, that's bad. That's a scary good trade. He was 25 at the time. He's 26 now. He fits the history of that position there so well. He's a perfect leader. He's really intelligent. He is a physical player. He can play downhill or he can play sideline to sideline. Everything about him just screams Ravens Ring of Honor. It's just, what a steal of a trade.
He gives off like that Ray Lewis vibe in a sense.
He totally does. He's not as crazy and he's not as preachy, but when it comes to football IQ and physical ability, I totally agree with you. And Patrick Queen's become such a better player with him there. I think when Roquan Smith wasn't there, they were asking Patrick Queen to be that Ray Lewis, which was asking him to be a little bit too much because I don't think he's talented enough. But when he has a Roquan Smith there and he can be, I don't want to say a sidekick because that does him a little dirty, but it is a bit of a Robin to a Batman.
Yeah,
if you respect Robin at all, what's that?
I said they're like that Terrell Suggs, Ray Lewis 2.0.
Well, what's interesting is they both play in that middle spot. So Terrell Suggs would often play off the edge. What's great about Patrick Queen and Roquan Smith is they fill those A and B gaps. They fill those gaps that are right around the center. And then from there, they both have that lateral speed where they can get to a sideline and prevent you from running around them. I think you hit the nail right on the head, Austin. This game to me is about two people. It's about, is Mark Andrews healthy enough? Because if he's there offensively, this Ravens offense is the best it's ever been, maybe in the history of the Baltimore Ravens, and that's not a joke. Even with Joe Flacco, it could be as dynamic as it's ever been. And on the other side of things, if Isaiah Pacheco has a good game, this is a dogfight. This is a really close game. If Isaiah Pacheco gets shut out, Ravens, big.
Yeah. Have you seen this conspiracy going around with the referee that got chose to be the head referee for that game?
No, I have not. I'd love to hear it, though.
I cannot remember his name, but he is always so. Gosh damn it! I cannot figure out. I can't get off, or else it'll exit it out. But I saw on TikTok.
Hold on a second. I can look this up while you're talking.
Yeah, it was like the head referee that's going to be for that game. He has always favored on the road teams, away teams. So basically, the home team that has gone up against this ref, in a sense, has lost at a 55%.
It's very interesting. A lot of people are obviously hitting on the conspiracy theory you're hitting on, which I think there's something to. I'm not going to say it's completely unwarranted. I think referee conspiracy theories are the most believable conspiracy theories in all of sports, other than, the Astros banging on garbage bags or garbage pails. I think there is something to that. Here's what makes the biggest difference for me. I should have mentioned this earlier. Joe Thuney not playing is massive for the Kansas City Chiefs. Their offensive lineman, who's a Pro Bowler, who has been a Super Bowl champion with them and with the Patriots. He is a critical piece to that offensive line. This is one in which I'm not going to make it about referees as much as I normally would. If this was a pure coin flip game, everybody's healthy, I'd go towards it. But the fact that there are some injuries that are going against the Chiefs and some players getting healthy in favor of the Ravens are at home. They're more rested. They had the easier win last week. They're the better team. I'm taking the Ravens, and I'm not backing down even with Roger Goodell referee conspiracy theories trying to talk me out of it and taking the Chiefs on the money line, which I'm sure is going to be a hot ticket on Sunday.
Oh, yeah. I mean, dude, you know me. I'm Ravens through and through, and living in Missouri, and my whole entire family is just like KC, KC, KC. And I'm so amped for this game and just so excited for this weekend's football games and everything.
I'll put this out there as well. I'm always interested by who, I don't want to say the hungrier team, but there is, whatever that term is, the team that's looking to prove more. And I do think the Ravens are kind of being like, hey, we're the number one team in the playoffs. We were the number one team in the NFL record-wise this year. And I don't think they're getting enough respect. I got to admit, I think more people are saying, yeah, but it's Patrick Mahomes. If I am Roquan Smith, it's like, I want to shut some people up. In that way, it reminds me of Bart Scott with the Jets. Like,
yes,
go shut somebody out, And I feel like the Ravens are about to hit somebody in the mouth. By the way, this is a game. I know Taylor Swift had fun in the stands of Buffalo, and that was like really cute with Jason Kelce and all. Look, Baltimore be different. All right? Baltimore be different. I know it sounds cute because they got the band and everything, but like Baltimore hits different. Okay, so I don't know.
Yeah, dude. I am super excited for this because Mahomes has already been in this situation. It's been a couple years for Lamar Jackson and the Ravens to be in this spot, so I think they have to go out and prove something. Truthfully,
I think they do too. Austin, I'm rooting for your boys this week. I'm curious to know how much you're putting down on it, but we'll have to touch base on it soon, man.
Yeah, dude, for sure. Appreciate it.
Be good, dude. We'll talk again soon. We got another caller who wants to join the line. Jeffrey, he's another one of our favorites who comes on and shoots the shit with us. We'll give out a pick after Jeffrey's call. Jeffrey, what's good?
Hey, man, how's it going?
Loving life. How you doing?
Pretty good. I had two topics that I wanted to touch on. I wanted to touch on the hiring of Jim Harbaugh as the coach for the Chargers. Do you really think it elevates Justin Herbert to a potential, I would say a potential top 10 QB in the league, but a lot of these reports say that he's top 5, which is, I think, a little bit blasphemous.
I think if there are two quarterbacks, and I'm not going to do a whole like quarterback race rant right now, but if there are two quarterbacks who get the white quarterback privilege more than they should, Justin Herbert, Josh Allen. Like, they've never won an MVP. They've never won a Super Bowl. They've never been to a Super Bowl. And we talk about, don't get me wrong, amazing arm talent. Matthew Stafford level arm talent. I don't care. Like, it doesn't, you need to win something for me to put you in like a top 5 category. Like, again, Patrick Mahomes isn't my GOAT because he hasn't won enough. Like, great that he has all this arm talent or he's this athletic freak. Like, you gotta accomplish for me to make you a ranked something. So anyways, do I think Harbaugh puts Herbert in that status? By my answer just then, no, because you still have to go out and accomplish it. Does he give him the best head coach he could possibly have for the next stage of his career? Yes. I thought Belichick would have worked there. He wouldn't have worked as well as Harbaugh. I thought if Vrabel would have worked there. Not as well as Harbaugh. I cannot think of a head coach you could put in who would be better right now. He knows how to develop young quarterbacks. And when I say young, I mean literal freshmen in college young. So he now gets to work with a professional. He doesn't have to do the recruiting nonsense. He doesn't have to deal with by the way, and he's totally feeling himself. He's totally in his element. I think Harbaugh is a home run. I think he's going to go in there and they're going to draft a more physical running game. They're going to shore up their offense and defensive lines. And they're going to draft a tight end. Brock Bowers, everyone's saying it. I agree with it. And they're going to give Justin Herbert what he's needed this whole time. Not an offense that's based on fantasy football stats, but an offense that can score when they need it to in the most important moments so they can win games. Because they haven't been able to do that of late.
Yep, nope, totally agree. And then this is a little bit more of recent news, but Raheem Morris is going to be hired as the Atlanta Falcons head coach. So what does that mean for Bill Belichick?
It means he's not going to be coaching this season. It means Bill Belichick is going to be sitting out a year, and I'll be curious to know what he does. I would not be surprised if he does show up on TV somewhere for some spot appearances, because I think people actually don't know how much Bill Belichick enjoys the media. He does more than people think he does. He doesn't like stupid press conferences, but like in Cleveland and New England, he had regular segments where he would talk through football. He did the NFL film stuff. Like, he reveres NFL Network and NFL Films for, documenting the game. So I could see him like not doing live broadcasts, but he does some documentary or he does some series because he's got the time. I think he waits out a year. And I think the moment that Mike McCarthy is fired, the way he should have been this year, he's hired. Now, funny enough, we talk about Jim Harbaugh and Justin Herbert and the Chargers. I always thought that Sean Payton was going to go to the Chargers. He was in LA. He loved it there. He loved Justin Herbert. He wanted to coach Justin Herbert. But it was clear Sean Payton wanted to get back in the league, and the Chargers weren't ready for him. And so even though he had waited out a year or two, he wanted to get back. He took the Broncos job. Belichick, I think, is going to wait the year and take the job instead of... I think if he wanted the Falcons job, he could have said, I want this, and he could have pushed. I think it wasn't an easy marriage. I think he's going to... I think he's going to sit out the year.
I think it wasn't an easy marriage. I think he's going to sit out the year. I think it wasn't an easy marriage.
For me, obviously as a Cowboys fan, I love this because I have hopes that we'll actually gain Bill Belichick as the coach next season. Obviously, that kind of works in our favor but man, retaining Mike McCarthy was by far like the most infuriating thing that I've ever seen. I understand 12-5 records, but it's more about what you do after that.
Here, Jeffrey, you're getting some bad static back, so hit me back up because I'd love to pick up the conversation. But I agree with you in that I think the Cowboys made a massive mistake bringing Mike McCarthy back. I don't think they're going to... Mike McCarthy's saying we're a championship caliber team. Are you? You have proved nothing to me that suggests that you, Mike McCarthy, can literally punch me through the ceiling, punch me through the plaster, the glass ceiling, whatever it is to get to that Super Bowl level. And if there's one thing I could say about Bill Belichick, and this does go even without Tom Brady, I think Bill Belichick is a championship caliber coach. He knows how to coach your defense to win an NFC championship game. He did it as a coordinator. I don't have the same level of faith in Mike McCarthy. I just don't believe in him the same way. I'm going to bring Jeffrey back on, then we'll get to Sam. But Jeffrey, now that we got rid of that static, what's your take?
Yeah, so I mean, I completely agree with that take, and honestly, it's like I said, and I've mentioned this before in the previous live that I went live with you on. It's more about a culture change. Obviously, the playoff success has to be there, but retaining Mike McCarthy just tells me that like you've seen enough to just see like, fuck it, let's just see what happens next year.
Right.
And I think that's just like
and that's the worst the worst place you can be in as a franchise is exactly how you put it. Like, fuck it, let's just run it back. Oh my God, whoever said that and it ended up working out? Like, genuinely, if I'm missing someone, by the way, there were a couple this year that I didn't think were like worthy of run it back status. Like, I thought Sean McVay and the Rams were kind of done, and like they ran it back and it turned out better than I thought. That's an example of like a ceiling for the fuck it, we'll run it back. But when does that actually work? And no, I'm not including Bill Belichick and Brady, because that was never fuck it, run it back. That was goat and goat. But like McCarthy running it back, it just feels like a delayed year. Everyone gets older. Everyone just gets a year older.
Yep. No, totally agree with that. And then branching off of that, this is the last kind of topic I wanted to hit on. Branching off of the Cowboys, what do you think? I don't know. Actually, I don't even know if you've heard any of it, but the latest Twitter kind of beef that's been going on with Micah Parsons, and then you have CeeDee Lamb, and you have and Dak Prescott's brother. You have Dak Prescott's brother saying that like, trust me, if I could get him to leave the Cowboys, I would. And you have CeeDee Lamb's mom saying that Dak isn't it, and then you got Micah Parsons saying that, or brother saying that you're gonna miss him when he's gone. So what do you make of all this like family drama? A lot of the TV hosts are saying that don't pay attention to the family stuff, but it seems that this stuff is coming more to light, and I don't know if it's because the Cowboys are just like America's team, or if this is actually something.
It has nothing to do. I think it is a function of it being America's team only because we talk about it more, but that's not what it's about. It's this new media, this new sports media, where the athlete's taking control. Micah Parsons has a podcast on Bleacher Report every week, and this is the thing that concerns me as someone who's been in sports media. Just because we give you a platform doesn't mean you know what to talk about. So you're going to say some stupid shit. Have a game segment, have a trivia segment. But no, you don't know how to do that. So you do an hour of just freestyle. I'm just going to rip shit. I'm just going to talk about what I saw in the league this week. Damn. Uh-oh. So you have athletes shooting their mouth. That's the first wave of this. The second wave is, much like the athlete's family now feels empowered. I can have a platform. I can have an audience. I can grow this. Now, I'm going to give you an example of where it works, but where other family members see that. You know, Kyle Juszczyk, the fullback of the 49ers, his wife is making these unbelievable outfits for celebrities. Like, super cool for Taylor Swift and Lautner or whatever, like 49ers gear and Lions gear and all this stuff. Awesome stuff. Super cool. She grew her following by like 500,000 people. You don't think the wife of every NFL player saw that and went, oh, okay, I can become somebody. I can have a side gig. I can become a influencer, a celebrity, because I'm in the orbit of this person, and therefore I have more eyeballs watching me, and thus I can develop something there. I think that's going to happen with CeeDee Lamb's mom, or Micah Parsons' brother, or, you know, Mike McCarthy's dog walker. Like, it's going to be that kind of world where instead of someone saying, I have access, it's, no, I have an opinion that's backed by this access. And because I have an opinion backed by access, you should follow, subscribe, and watch me all the time. And that's a new era for us. That's a strange world.
Mm-hmm. So do you think, in your opinion, though, is it cause for concern around the entire team?
100%. There is never a time where hearing from family is good unless it's like, Mama McNabb brought us all over for Chunky's Campbell's soup. Like, all right, well, that's freaking dandy. Like, that's great. Okay, clearly they're going to an NFC Championship game this year. They ain't winning it, but they're going to get there. But
Yeah.
I think that's a sign of a good team and a pulled together team. But when Trayvon Diggs is telling Stephon Diggs to get the hell out of Buffalo, I think that's a problem for the Bills. When Dak Prescott's brother, who's been known to speak out before, says some shit and CeeDee Lamb's family, like, no, that is bad news because these guys, think about you. That's a division of your two families, your work family and your home family. If they're bickering, it's going to put you in an awkward position. Again, I feel like it's where Mike McCarthy being there and kicking the can down the road is just bad news for everybody because there's no sheriff in town. There is no Jimmy Johnson to be like, hey, everybody, shut the hell up. Okay? The boss is here. We don't need this. Shut up. Yeah. He's not that guy.
Yeah, nope, totally agree. Well, it was good shooting the shit as normal. Hopefully we'll get on the next segment here, but really appreciate you taking it.
Jeffrey, you're the man. Look forward to talking with you again soon. Let's get another caller up on the line. Sam has been waiting patiently. Let's see what Sam wants to talk about. We're just ripping the sports chat with let's see. Hey, Sam, what's good? How you living?
Can you hear me good?
Yeah, I can.
I just got a couple topics for you. Do you think it's time for the Miami Dolphins to move off Tua? What's your opinion on Tua? What would you say?
No, I don't think it's time to move off Tua because he just made massive strides this year. He was able to stay healthy this year, and I think you've built your offense around him. And I think that Mike McDaniel can't go from being this, like, fanatic Tua supporter to them being like, yeah, we need to move on from Tua. I think it would be disingenuous, and it would set a really bad example for future players with him, that it's like, oh, this coach is actually full of shit. And I think the thing Mike McDaniel has going for him, other than being an offensive genius, is he's very authentic. He's very, like, who he is at the core is who he shows you his personality to be. I think he really believes in Tua. I also think Tua didn't do anything to lose the job. He played well. Like, they went to cold weather conditions. They lost. They played a Buffalo team they should have beaten. They should have won that Buffalo game in Miami. That was bad. I'll give you that. But other than that, I don't think it's time to move on, especially because where you're positioned in the draft, where you could get another free agent. Like, what are you going to do? Trade for Russell Wilson and have a QB controversy in camp between those two? Well, that's a nightmare going nowhere.
What else could we possibly bring in to help Tua? You know, we got Waddle, we got A-Chain, we got Tyreek. I mean, maybe a tight end. I don't know what else we can really bring in to help him on the offense.
I'm going to make a joke here, but there's some legitimacy to this. You need to bring in facilities that can train you for cold conditions. And I mean that because either you have to be the number one seed, or I don't see the Dolphins making a Super Bowl anytime soon. And that is more of a function of whether it's Tua or how this offense, specifically the offense, functions. It is like built for track. It's built for indoor conditions. It's built for warm weather. It is not built for a rainy game in Baltimore in January. It's not built for a snowy game in Buffalo in December. It's not built for it.
It's a rhythm offense. Like,
that's
if
right.
Start hot the first, it's not going to get.
By the way, in this way, the Rams' offense of the greatest show on turf. There's a reason it was on turf, because if it was on grass, it wouldn't have been as good. It would have been a little slower. Wouldn't have been as effective.
The 99 Rams, right? The 99 Rams.
That's right. With Kurt Warner and Marshall Faulk and Torrey Holt and Isaac Bruce and just a loaded team. Now, you guys, as crazy as that comparison is, you guys have almost as much talent. Like, you don't have the Hall of Fame running back. I think Achane and Mostert are great, but they're no Marshall Faulk. But when it comes to a wide receiver duo, Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, I mean, they can give Isaac Bruce and Torrey Holt a run for their money. So you have these unbelievable weapons. So my thing is, either you need to be the most dominant number one team and have home field advantage, or you're going to have to travel on the road. Well, what travels on the road? Defense. You need to be better defensively. So the facility that can go to negative 10 degrees, that's a joke, but in reality, you need to address the defense. And I'd love to see the offense add to the O-line, but even there, I feel like the Dolphins will only go as far as their defense, because the defense is what gets them the number one seed ultimately, or it's the defense that gets them a road win more likely than the offense does.
And I can get behind that because at home, Miami's offense is electric. And then when you go to away games, even if it's warm weather, cold, rain, it seems like it starts to sputter, gets out of rhythm. The defense steps up. I'm with you. The defense needs to step up a little bit more.
I'll say two things. One, I'll give the Dolphins the benefit of the doubt, and the other, I'm going to take a shot at them. Benefit of the doubt, they had some terrible injuries. I don't know if there was any team that suffered worse injuries in a short span of time to end a year this year than the Dolphins. Like, they had so many injuries to their D-line. Frankly, when Waddle and Mostert got hurt late in the year and they were out a couple weeks, that really hurt them from closing up the AFC East, which would have gotten them home field advantage to at least this round. So there were a number of injuries there that negatively impacted the Dolphins. I'm going to give them that benefit of the doubt. You know, injuries happen. Every year there's one team that just gets screwed. This year it was Miami. However, this is where I will take a shot at the Dolphins. That massive win against the Denver Broncos earlier in the year was the worst thing that could have happened to that team because they believed the hype. They were all into this. We're gonna have Tyreek's gonna have 2,000 yards and Tua's gonna throw for this many touchdowns. We're gonna be a video game offense. Oh yeah? Oh really? Okay. Let's have you face a real defense on the road. And I thought it increased their ego, you know, to the old Top Gun line. Their ego started writing checks their body couldn't cash. They were writing 70-point checks, and they could only put up 30 points. 30 points is great, but it's not 70.
If you go back, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but if you go back to that game, both them teams learned something that day. Miami learned.
Yep.
That they're the fastest team on turf, you know, whatever, they believe the hype, and that following week they got a reality check.
Yep.
And then the Broncos learned, hey, we need to fix this, and they completely turned around their game after that week. So
I thought it was the best thing that happened to the Denver Broncos and the worst thing that happened to the Miami Dolphins. Now, it's terrible for the Broncos because they're now forever in history as the team that gave up the most points in a single game. But I thought it lit a fire under Patrick Surtain. That defense was a top 10 defense the rest of the year. I think it was the game that like literally kicked them into shape. On the other side, I thought it gave the Dolphins this level of strut that was like so undeserved. Like, great, it's one game. If this were college, we wouldn't think anything of it. I get it's the NFL, but I thought they actually never really that was your peak. You peaked way too early. You want to peak in January. You peaked in what, October?
Yeah. And then I got one more for you, and I'll let someone else get up here. But Vic Fangio, what do you think about that scenario that went down the DC for Miami?
Something was going on there, and I'm just reacting to the social media that's come out since he was let go. Something was going on there that we were unaware of. Now, it's interesting that there were cameras literally rolling for Hard Knocks, and we didn't see it. But clearly there's a relationship there between the players and the coach that was frayed. Now, one, I think Vic Fangio wanted to be in Philadelphia. He was there the year before. Things didn't work out. Now he's back there. Great.
The money kind of made him come to Miami.
Right, exactly. So do I think that there was always like, am I here long term? No, I'm here because I'm here. And I don't know if he bought in, and there's a lot to that might be behind the scenes. But when I see like players on social media like kicking rocks in reaction to
what was it, Javon Holland or something?
By the way, who's a badass? I don't know if there is a more underrated, less talked about stud in the secondary across the NFL than Javon Holland. Dude's awesome. Dude's awesome. Dude's physical. He's smart. He can make a play on the ball. He's got good ball skills. Like, he is everything you want in a safety.
He don't care to fly down and lay a hit on.
He can lay a hit. He can also play back and play Ed Reed, outsmart you in the center field spot. Like, I'm a huge fan. When he reacted that way, I was like, damn, okay. If Jalen Ramsey does that, I react differently. Jalen Ramsey, maybe there's a little cornerback ego in there. Okay, maybe he didn't do things he want, whatever. Javon Holland, when he's reacting that way, I really was like, okay, probably for the best that these two parted ways. So I think that's a really attractive job because I think the Dolphins are loaded and I think they have the chance to get better through the draft. This isn't a very good defensive draft, which actually could benefit them because I don't think there will be as many teams targeting the defensive side of the ball. I think the first 2-3 rounds, loads of offensive players go. Dolphins don't need as many offensive weapons. They need defense. They could be able to get some of the better defensive players who fall because it's such an offensive loaded draft. So I think
an offensive loaded draft. And I'm before I go, I'm gonna quote a thing Tyreek Hill said. I believe if you could run it back with this same team and you can kind of fix some of your scenarios, maybe bring in a piece or whatever, I think this team has nothing but the sky has a limit.
If the Dolphins were playing the Ravens this Sunday, I think that is almost as close a game as the Chiefs game. Now, I won't say it is because I trust Mahomes more than Tua, but in terms of pure rosters, I think it's a much more even Chiefs versus Dolphins. Who would you rather have? Roster, I think everybody being healthy, all those D linemen being healthy, I think it's very, very close. I still think the Ravens are the best team in the AFC, but who's number two? If everybody's healthy, I'm okay. Patrick Mahomes, but Dolphins have a really good roster.
Okay, well, I appreciate the time. I'll be listening in. You have a good day, buddy.
Sam, you're the man. Appreciate it, and we'll talk again soon. If you guys want to join the show as a guest, feel free to do so. Love taking your calls. We had a bunch of calls on this show, so having a lot of fun. Frank, what are we discussing? We talked some Miami. Xavier Lopez, sorry. I think the issue is with Jerry. He has too much control. Very interesting. I would say that Jerry Jones may have too much control, but here's the thing. If we look at the Cowboys rosters over the last few years, he's not missing on drafts. There was a time there where people were really attacking Jerry Jones, that he was having bad drafts, kind of like Bill Belichick was for the last few years. And they were right. And he changed things up, and he gave more control to Stephen Jones. They changed the dynamic, and they've been really successful. I also think they got smarter, and they said if we draft good offensive linemen and good defensive linemen or linebackers, we can't go wrong, and that's kind of a good strategy. You win in the trenches. So I think Jerry does have too much control, but it hasn't been a problem in terms of the roster. Where I do think it's a problem is, do I think that he cuts the balls and neuters every head coach he has because he has to have the press conference on Monday morning to go through the analysis of the game? Yeah, I'm in New England right now, and Robert Kraft doesn't come on 98.5 The Sports Hub or 850 WEEI on Monday mornings to talk about it. Mark Gonzalez, I appreciate you encouraging people to tap that like button. While you're doing that, I'm going to give out some picks to say thank you to all of you guys for tapping that screen. So Mark Gonzalez, thanks for encouraging those picks or for those likes. We're going to give out some picks. First pick I'm giving out Jazz on the money line, everybody. Utah Jazz on the money line, taking that one. I'm also taking the Celtics on the money line. Feel very good about that. Jazz money line, Celtics money line. By the way, I saw on social media that Jaylen Brown and Porzingis have a nickname, Cookies and Cream. I think that may be my favorite surprise friendship in the NBA this year. You know how they had Boban and Tobias Harris in Philadelphia, and everyone was like shocked that they became really close friends? I'm hearing that Porzingis and Jaylen Brown are like boys. They sit next to each other on the planes. They hang out in the hotel. Who would have thought? But it could be, not only was Porzingis the best addition for the Celtics because he gave them 3-point shooting at a big man position, but I definitely think that friendship is bringing together someone who at times can be a little coarse. I think Jaylen Brown can be a little tough at times as a teammate. Let's give out another pick right now. I'm also taking the Kings on the money line, guys. So I gave out 3 picks so far. Jazz money line, Celtics money line, Kings money line, and I'm also going to give out my SHARPZ play of the day. This is my favorite bet of the day, regardless of the sport, regardless of the type of bet. This is my SHARPZ play of the day. I'm taking 76ers on the money line, guys. Has been a very consistent play against the Pacers. So even though I think Joel Embiid actually goes under his point total tonight, you heard that right. I think Joel Embiid goes under his point total. My SHARPZ play of the day for tonight, my favorite bet is the 76ers on the money line. I'm hearing no Halliburton. He is out tonight. One of the reasons I like the 76ers as much as I do. So 4 NBA picks have been put up on the board. 76ers money line, Jazz on the money line, Celtics on the money line, and the Kings on the money line. Elite Detail, hello to you over there in Rochester. Hope you're having a great day. If any of you guys want to join the show as a guest, feel free to do so. Hit us up. Love taking your questions and your calls. So make sure you hit us up. If you're on TikTok, you have to have 1,000 followers. Their rule, not mine. I would have had more people come on. But feel free to join as a guest. Elite Detail, you can join as a guest, I'm seeing. Bleece, you can join as a guest. IP Shade 45. Not sure a rant has been done on his thoughts on script NFL conspiracy theory. IP Shade 45. What do I think of the conspiracy theory script? Like all conspiracy theories, I don't believe in it wholeheartedly. I think there are flecks of truth. There are snowflakes of truth. Do I think that the NFL, when it created its logo for this upcoming Super Bowl that's happening in just 2-3 weeks, do I think that they thought, there's a chance the 49ers and the Ravens could play, so we're going to put the colors of those two teams? Yes, I do. I do think the NFL looks at color scheme and does it sometimes based on what they think could happen. I believe that. Do I think the NFL sometimes sets certain things up, like referees being at certain games? Yes, I think that is an NFL script conspiracy snowflake. Do I think the NFL is actually rigging any games? No. Do I think the NFL has a script, a pre-written script? No. Do I think the NFL would like certain outcomes from a business, a commercial perspective? Yes. Taylor Swift going to a Super Bowl as a spectator would be ka-ching, ka-ching, massive money for the NFL. This was the Chiefs-Bills game, was the most watched NFL game in how long? For a Super Bowl, I think it was the most watched NFL game like that wasn't a Super Bowl. And yes, there was a Taylor Swift effect to that. I think there are absolutely commercial interests in mind. I think the NFL is a business. And no, I don't think the NFL always wants the sweet story. I think they want, the ratings driving story. Fortunately for them, I don't think they've got a bad one this year. 49ers, large fan base, good history, no issue there, plenty of stars. Detroit Lions would be the ultimate darlings. It would be the Red Sox in 2004. It would be the Cubs. It would be that level of, oh my God, can you believe this is happening? And as for, you get Lamar Jackson or you get Patrick Mahomes, the NFL can't go wrong. But do I think there's a level of script in there? Just a little bit. IP Shade 45, Eminem vs. Swift is the moneymaker. You know what? I would be fine with that Super Bowl. I would be absolutely okay with that Super Bowl. I think that would work for me. So yeah, I'd love it. Appreciate you guys being with us. Make sure you guys hit that follow button. Make sure you're subscribing. Make sure you're a part of this great community. Elizabeth, great to see you. Hope you're having a wonderful day. Team of the 90s, Christian McCaffrey, anytime touchdown. San Francisco money line just took a plus 100. Love it. Love it. Hope you're having a wonderful day. First day, Tennessee got prize picks. Let's go, B-Ret. Happy to hear it. Congratulations. I know there are a few more states coming into the sports betting community. Great to have you with us. If you guys are looking for some good ways to cash in on your knowledge of the sports world, check out Rival Fantasy. Rival Fantasy has these day-to-day challenges where I can look at two players. Who's going to have more fantasy points? Joel Embiid, Jalen Brunson. Both don't have great matchups tonight. I might go Joel Embiid just barely. I'll place a buck on it. What about Joel Embiid, Anthony Edwards? I don't know. I'd skip it. What if I want to search somebody? Say I really like, I don't know, is Drew Holiday available? Drew Holiday or Miles Turner? Don't like that when Miles Turner has a good matchup. Drew Holiday or Kyle Kuzma? Kuzma's got a good matchup. How about Drew Holiday, Clarkson? I'll take that. I'll go Drew Holiday. I'll put a buck down. This is a way you can take the knowledge and research that you put together every single day or that you get from Butt Fumble Sports and put it to good use. Rival Fantasy Challenges. I'm going to be posting these almost every single day, so you can check them out on my Instagram account, or you can DM me on Instagram, DM Butt Fumble Sports on Instagram to check out these Rival Fantasy Challenges. Great way to cash in on research that you're already doing, on games that you already care about, on things that you already want to make money on. Do you think Seattle, who do you think Seattle gets for a head coach? Who do I think they're going to get, or who do I think they should get? I still think it's going to be Dan Quinn. Something says that is just being played out, like that was predetermined, and they're just going through the motions. But if I were Seattle, it's Mike Vrabel. It's Mike Vrabel. Like, is he Pete Carroll? No, because he's not as positive. He's not as energetic. But he's got a lot of, I want to say, Pete Carroll qualities in that he cares about his players. He creates a really good environment. I think he values physicality, which I think Seattle is about as a football organization. I think Mike Vrabel would be the right hire there in Seattle. Do you think the Niners over the 7-point spread? CKD, I don't. And here's the biggest concern. It's Deebo Samuel. If the 49ers had a healthy Deebo, I'd be taking the 49ers to cover the 7 points. But he's not healthy. He has been limited. He was limited at practice today. He had missed practice earlier in the week. I think the Lions cover the 7 points. I think this is closer to a 3-point game than it is a 7-point game. Team of the 90s, Bill Belichick is not getting hired. He's going to be sitting out a year. And I am curious to know what he does. I think he does some sort of media. I don't think it's going to be a pregame show or a live show, live broadcast or anything like that. I think he'll work with like NFL Films and do some series on the history of the NFL, the history of positions. I think that if I were president of NFL Network right now, which is a job that I once aspired to, I would be reaching out to Bill Belichick and I would be saying, hey, we will give you your summer on Nantucket. You can film whenever you want. We'll make this the easiest work schedule you've had in the last 30 years, last 50 years. But we want to get as much out of your brain when it comes to football knowledge as possible. Because when it comes to a historian of the game of football, I don't know if there's someone who literally knows more than Bill Belichick. This would be a great opportunity for the rest of us to literally get access to that for a year and not have it clouded by him being a head coach of a certain team. So I'd love to see him at NFL Network for a year. Arctic Tiger, it sounds like Mark Andrews is going to be playing. I think he's going to be on the field. How do you feel about Chiefs plus 9.5 and plus 13 on teasers? B-Ret, I really like it. The one I actually probably have less confidence in is Chiefs plus 9.5, but do I think Mahomes gets beat by 10? I don't think so. I like those two teasers. You think Callahan will be a good head coaching hire? No, I thought that was a mistake. I think it could work out fine in that I could see them being a first-round playoff team in a couple years, but I didn't love it. I actually like the hire by the Carolina Panthers more. I probably like the Falcons hire the least, but I'm not big on Callahan. Diego, I guess we're not going to have a Bill Belichick year this year. Does he retire? I don't think he retires. He clearly wants to keep coaching, and he wants Don Shula's record, so I don't think Bill Belichick retires. But unfortunately for all of us Bill Belichick fans, and I do count myself among them, no Bill Belichick this season. He will be sitting out. CKD Warrior, what is your opinion about the Raiders' future? Well, I love that they hired Antonio Pierce. I thought it was a no-brainer. There are certain organizations where culture matters than IQ. Culture matters more than football X's and O IQ. And I'm actually not saying that Antonio Pierce doesn't know football, but culture matters more to the Raiders. It just does. I don't know why, but culture matters more. If you develop the right culture in the Raiders organization, like, it just works out better. I don't know why. But Antonio Pierce is a Raider, and he's a Compton Raider, which makes him as badass a head coach as you can have. I think that if I were the Raiders, I'd get away from the Al Davis, I want to be the fastest speed team in the NFL at the wide receiver position. I know that's very popular now. I might move away from that a little bit, and I would say I want to be the meanest team in the NFL again. They were once in the past. With Max Crosby, you can be again. Go draft some defensive dogs. Go draft scary guys. Make yourself a scary defense, and then develop an offense that can go along with it. But I think the Raiders are a long way from competing consistently. They don't have a quarterback. They don't have an offensive identity. On defense, their identity is only really Max Crosby. But you know what? Max Crosby's enough to start. Now, I think they should trade Devontae Adams. There were rumors about that weeks ago that he was going to be traded to the Jets. I think they should. Get some draft capital, build a young, aggressive, physical defense. I do look at what's being done by the Houston Texans with Will Anderson. They changed that defense. That defense got a whole lot better in a year. The Raiders, you have Crosby, build around him, and get some scary pass rush ability in that room around him. Diego, I think the Panthers hiring was I thought it was a great hire as well. They hired the Bucs offensive coordinator who's had a lot of success over the last few years. I love it. Raiders are the outcast league. Al Davis went after league, so look down on IP Shade 45. That was once upon a time. I feel like at this point, the ghost of the NFL and of the Raiders is long past. Jorge, you want some player prop bets? Let's go. Here's some player prop bets for tonight. I'm taking a bold one. Joel Embiid, I'm taking under 30. I took it at 39.5 points, but I also took this at under 36.5 points. I know Joel Embiid's been on a heater, but tough matchup tonight, actually. So I'm taking the under on Joel Embiid points. I'm taking Julius Randle over 3.5 assists. I'd also take it at 4.5 assists. I think he has a pretty good game tonight. I'll give you one more player prop bet as well. I'm going Kyle Kuzma over 16.5 points. So those are 3 player prop bets we just gave out. If any of you guys want to join the show as a guest, hit us up. More than happy to have you join the show. Love taking your questions live on the air. Ravens 49ers winner. I think the Ravens win the Super Bowl right now. I say the Ravens win the Super Bowl. My only concern is if Debo's healthy, it probably sways me maybe a little bit closer to the 49ers, but I think the Ravens are the best defense. I think Lamar Jackson's having a really great year. I'm going to go Ravens to win the Super Bowl. CKD rumors are Fields to Raiders, Russell Wilson to Raiders, or Raiders trading up to get... I don't think there's any chance they'll get Jaden Daniels. I don't think they can offer enough to the Bears, the Commanders, or the Patriots to get Jaden Daniels. So I'm going to put the Jaden Daniels talk away. I think that's actually the red herring. That's the misnomer. That's the false identifier here, the false variable. The Fields rumor is interesting. That one is all about the moment that the Bears let it be known that Justin Fields is on the market. Who makes a bid? If I were the Falcons, I'd make a bid. If I were the Vikings, I'd consider a bid. And yes, if I were the Raiders, I think the Raiders makes a lot of sense. Now, Russell Wilson to the Raiders, that makes less sense to me. You saw him the last 2 years, and you knew how bad he played. You got to scout him. I don't know if you want to sign him after that. So I'd probably go for a Justin Fields trade. That's the most attractive option to me, CKD. Michael, Fields goes to the Patriots. I don't think so. I think the Patriots are going to draft their quarterback. I think it's going to be Jaden Daniels just because I think Ben Johnson's going to want Drake May at the number 2 position. But I think Justin Fields is not going to end up in New England. Appreciate you guys hitting us up. If you guys want to answer or ask a question, rant some sports with us, hit me up. Love taking your calls. Falcons bringing back Morris. I think Fields will get traded to Falcons. Diego, I like that take. Like that take, Diego. The ghost of Al lives forever. I hear you. CKD, Pats draft May. I think the Pats draft either May or Daniels. It really is about who's left on the board. And I think they're going to try and sell their fan base on there are 3 really good quarterbacks in this draft. We're going to get one of them guaranteed. If I were the Patriots, I'd trade up to make sure I get the guy I want. But probably the Bears and Commanders aren't moving out. So you are going to be stuck in that number 3 spot. If you guys haven't done so already, make sure you DM me on Instagram to get every bet that I make every day. I give out my picks for free on Instagram. So DM Butt Fumble Sports on Instagram and make sure that you guys hit me up. And to find K-Line, I'm live right now, buddy. CKD, Bo Nix will be the best QB in this draft this year. I'm saying it now. CKD, I am totally willing to take that side action with you. I think Bo Nix is Bo Nix could have a really good career. You know where Bo Nix should go? There are two places he should go. He should either go to Minnesota, where they already have wide receivers, and once again he can just go Chuck, or the Pittsburgh Steelers. He makes a lot of sense to me in Pittsburgh because again, they need someone who can just attack down the field. They already have the wide receivers. I think Bo Nix could have a good career. I don't think he's going to be the best quarterback from this draft. I don't think he'll be the second or third best, but I think Bo Nix could have a good career if he went to one of those two places. Pittsburgh, Minnesota, those would be the two. Pittsburgh makes a lot of sense in part because Kenny Pickett, he doesn't have enough arm talent. They need someone who's got more arm talent, but they're still going to be a more balanced attack than I think, Bo Nix physically isn't enough. CKD, I don't think they're going to if I were the Steelers, I'd wait until round 2. I don't think I'd draft him there. Diego likes Jaden Daniels going to New England. I like the take. I like the take a lot. If you guys have a sports take, whether it's from the NBA, hey, Doc Rivers, I haven't ranted about that yet. Let's talk about that really quick. Haven't mentioned that. Doc Rivers to the Milwaukee Bucks felt like a move that was supposed to happen in this past offseason, but for whatever reason, the Milwaukee Bucks went with this rookie head coach experiment. I feel like it all worked out the way it was supposed to. Doc was meant to be in Milwaukee, and he's meant to lose there in the second round like he does everywhere else. I think Doc Rivers is a good coach. He might borderline on a great coach at times, but he's not great enough to consistently get his teams to conference finals, and I think once again, he will fail to do so with this team. This Milwaukee Bucks team didn't realize how much they needed Drew Holiday and his defensive leadership. Dame Lillard, as talented as he is on offense, he is a liability on the defensive side of the ball, and that is what's going to keep the Bucks from winning. Because, great, Giannis and Dame could score a ton, but you're going to have to defend, and I don't think that they can defend well enough. Plus, Drew Holiday against Dame Lillard, I think Drew could probably do a pretty good job defensively against Dame Lillard. Jorge, I like Michael Penix Jr. to the Vikings. You know I'm big on that. If I could build a perfect draft right now, and this is saying Justin Fields gets traded to the Falcons, I would have Caleb Williams to the Bears. I would have Drake May to the Commanders under Ben Johnson. I'd have Jaden Daniels to the Patriots. I would have Michael Penix Jr. to the Vikings. And I would have Bo Nix to the Pittsburgh Steelers. However, that leaves one team outside looking in on quarterbacks in this draft, and I think this team is going to be aggressive, and that's the Denver Broncos. I think the Denver Broncos are going to be very aggressive, trying to move up to trade for a quarterback, so keep your eye on Sean Payton and those Broncos in the draft season. Promised you guys we would jump on over to Outlier and look at those NFL games and how the public money is coming down and how the public tickets are coming down. For all of those who watch the show, we like to look on how the public is betting on things. Gives us an indication on what the sports books want versus what the public wants. Sometimes we could take something from that information. So, not surprising, the public, both in number of tickets and in the amount of money bet, favors the Ravens in this AFC Championship game at 3 p.m. on Sunday, of course on CBS. With that said, the spread is interesting. The public likes it to be more even, 48-52. It's slightly in favor of the Ravens, but the money is more in favor of the Ravens. So let's put it this way. For one of the rare times in sports book betting history, the sports books and Patrick Mahomes are on the same side. That would have me a little bit nervous because the sports books have built a city out there in the desert on us losing our money. And when they have the benefit of Patrick Mahomes on their side, it makes me a little bit wary. So you may want to put a bet down on the Chiefs to cover. Just saying it now. Again, 4.5 plus 4.5 might be a very good spot. As for the Lions and 49ers, very interesting here. You know the Lions actually have more money placed on them to win than the 49ers do? Now that could be because the Lion fan base has come out and placed a ton of money on it. Could also be because that Deebo Samuel injury has some people worried. But for a number of reasons, this is a split decision. The money line favors the Lions in terms of percentage of money bet, but the 49ers on the spread have the advantage on total money bet. Right now, if I had to go any direction, I'd take the Lions to cover the +7. I'd probably take it at +7.5. Obviously, I'd take it even higher. But I think the two underdogs might be good to take those as two cover plays. We didn't get a lot of close games last week. I think we will this week. So I take both these games to be within, I'd say, a 4-point difference. Interestingly enough, the over is the popular, the under, no, I got it right the first time. The over is the popular play. Lions 49ers, over is the popular play. Here's one that has my attention, guys. Of all the bets we've talked about in the last 5 minutes around how the public's betting, the one I actually like the most is the under in the Chiefs and Ravens game. The public loves the over. The money likes the under. I'd go with the money. I'd take the under. I'd take under, probably take it at, let's say, under 47. Under 47 is what I would take it at. Under 47 is where I would take Chiefs and Ravens. Under 47, that's based on how the public's betting and where we can take advantage of the public versus the sports book. Diego, I don't know what all the hype is about J.J. McCarthy. J.J. McCarthy is the most nothing quarterback in college this year. Like, Michael Penix Jr. and Bo Nix were way more impressive than him. I understand he has athletic ability. I still don't know if he's got a good throwing arm. Like, if J.J. McCarthy was that good a quarterback, do we not think that Jim Harbaugh would have used him more in their offense to be successful this year? I just don't believe in J.J. McCarthy. Way too many people are trying to sell me on, oh, it's another Michigan quarterback. Yeah, Tom Brady does not make a history of successful quarterbacks. I'm not big on J.J. I'd avoid him, but if the Broncos went up to get him, I wouldn't be shocked. Diego, I got you. In the second round, I think he's a reach. I really think he's a fourth-round quarterback at best. I'm not big on him. I put him in the Jared Stidham category. He's not that good to me. Might be better looking, but he's not a better quarterback. If you guys want to join the show as a guest, feel free to hit us up. You can come on live on the air. Happy to have you guys hit us up and join the show. Diego, that's why I think the Broncos make a trade and move up. Jorge, any other bets we like today? I'll put a few more up on my board, buddy. Next one that I am going to take, I will take the Nuggets on the money line. I think it's going to be a very close game, but I'll take Nuggets on the money line. I'm also taking 76ers and Pacers. I'm going to take the over 234. A little nervous about that one, but I'm going to take the over in that game, even without Halliburton being on the floor. I'm also going to take the Lakers on the money line. Lakers on the money line, another bet that I put up on my big board. And another player prop bet for you. I am taking Steph Curry. Steph Curry over 4.5 assists. I could see this also getting over 5.5 assists. So there you go. Some more player prop bets and game picks for you. If you want every bet that I make every single day for free, DM me on Instagram. Butt Fumble Sports is the name of my company. Make sure you DM me on Instagram. That way you can get every bet I make every single day for free. That's Butt Fumble Sports. Again, Butt Fumble Sports. DM me on Instagram to get every bet I make for free. And like I said earlier, check out Rival Fantasy. If you guys love betting on fantasy sports, if you love playing fantasy sports, Rival Fantasy is a great way to take advantage of that. Whether it's the NBA, the NFL, you have plenty of opportunities to cash in. Who do you think is going to score more fantasy points this week? Christian McCaffrey, Lamar Jackson. I'm taking Lamar Jackson. I'll place a bet on it. It's that easy, guys. So whether it's the NBA or the NFL, if you want to take advantage of all this research that you're doing and cash in every day, go to Rival Fantasy and play their Rival Fantasy challenges. Of course, you can DM me on Instagram. I'll hook you up with a link so you know exactly where to go. Butt Fumble Sports on Instagram to make sure you do not miss on those actions. Spiller's Cards. What's my winning percentage On individual bets, it's between 65 and 68%. Right now, on all bets, we're hitting at about 57, 58%. It's because we do a lot of parlays. Parlays lose a lot. I'm not going to lie. But when we do individual bets, they're usually around 65, 68%, which I'm very proud of. I know there are a lot of people in the sports betting community who tout percentages that are just unreal. I don't do that. So yeah, 65, 68%. Romnick, will the Lions win? Man, it's a great question. I don't think so, but I think it's very close. Deebo Samuel's health is absolutely the difference for me. Spiller's cards, who are the Patriots taking? I think they're taking Jaden Daniels, only because I think Drake May probably goes ahead if Ben Johnson is the head coach of the Washington Commanders. Jorge, I love that Bridges play. Jorge. Good find. Pip, Ayuk over 5.5 catches. Before I give you an answer, I'm going to jump on over to Outlier so we can do our research on it. Outlier is the sports betting research tool that we use every day to find our best bets and find our favorite bets. Over 5.5 is coming in at plus money. Now, the Lions have not been a good secondary. They give up a lot of catches. One positive, when he has gone over this, it's more consistently hit at home. If you could, I'd buy this down. Take it at over 4.5. Pip, it's the better play, over 4.5. I really like it there. If you get it at over 4.5, I think it's a very good play. Over 5.5 feels a little bit ambitious. Don't feel as good about that one, buddy. Got some Dogecoin talk. Okay. What about Ayuk on receiving yards? Let's take a look at that really quick. Looking at receiving yards, interesting. This, again, has been a much better play at home than it has been on the road. Not so much in the last two games against the Rams and the Packers, but prior to that had been a very consistent play. Don't really like it at 81.5. That feels a little high again, but I take it at over 69.5. Do I think he gets to 70 receiving yards? Yes. Do I think he gets to 80? That's a little ambitious. I would take over 69.5 receiving yards. That's the play I would probably take on this one. So you're moving those odds a little bit. By the way, the Lions secondary is garbage, and I think there is opportunity there. That's why I agree with you, Pip. That's why I do like the bet. Dogecoin, I got Baltimore winning a bowl this year. I'm with you. I got Baltimore winning a Super Bowl. Jorge, Terry Rozier to the Heat rant. I think it's a great trade. I think it once again shows that the Miami Heat are one of the smartest organizations in the NBA. They didn't just upgrade from Kyle Lowry to Terry Rozier. They completely change the dynamic in the East. Much like OG Anunoby going to the Knicks, like the personality of their team changes. The chemistry changes. The team on the floor changes. I mean, I just love it in every way imaginable. I think he fits perfectly. I think the combination of him and Bam Adebayo in a pick and roll is killer. Do I think they're the second best team in the East right now? Probably not, but I think they are fighting for third, fourth spot. I think they're a very dangerous team, and once again, I think they could be the kryptonite to the Boston Celtics because I think Terry Rozier's history with the Celtics, the Heat's history against the Celtics, it all lends itself to believe that Miami is the team Boston does not want to face come the postseason. Cavs are on decline, Jorge. Yeah. They're definitely top five. I think the Knicks are a story right now. OG Anunoby, I have been following him since college because he went to Indiana and I went to IU. Not at the same time, but I just obviously watched the program. And I always thought he was going to be a defensive star. Like, he always reminded me of Kawhi Leonard defensively. He has great wingspan. He has big hands. He can block shots as well as body you up and be physical. Where I always was worried about OG was his offensive game. But he's found it, and when you can rely on Jalen Brunson and Julius Randle for more offense, but OG becomes that shutdown defensive player, that R.G. Barrett wasn't, that anyone else they had wasn't. I think it changes who the Knicks are. I think it's far more in keeping with who Thibodeau, their head coach, is and wants to be, as opposed to what they were a few months ago. Plugs, I completely disagree with you. I think OG Anunoby has already validated that trade. I think it made a lot of sense. Jorge, Magic started off hot, but I also think teams weren't respecting them, and now teams are very aware that's like a trap game when you play the Magic. They're playing them with a lot more respect, and that is impacting outcomes. Jorge, 76ers, Celtics, Bucks, Knicks, Heat. Certainly not in that order for me, because the Celtics would be number one to me. Celtics are the best team in the NBA right now. I don't think that's in doubt. I think that's actually pretty established at this point, just in terms of depth and how they performed against elite teams. So I'd go Celtics number one. I would actually go 76ers number two. I know the Bucks have a better record, but I'd go 76ers number two, Bucks three. I'd probably take the Knicks at 4 and the Heat 5, but it's close right now between those Knicks and Heat. And by the way, the Bucks, they could easily slide out of that 3 spot for me, depending on how things go with Doc Rivers. Doghouse breaks. I really like Colin Sexton on over the assist total tonight. So Doghouse breaks, you're definitely onto something with Colin Sexton having a big game. Don't know if I like the 31 PRA. I think I do, but it's close. What I really like is I like Colin Sexton. I'll even put this up on my board. Colin Sexton over 4.5 assists. I also took it at over 5.5 assists. I like his assist total a lot. Luke, what's good, Luke? Hope you're having a great night. Jorge, I got you. Should have kept quickly and traded Grimes. Jorge, but the Raptors wouldn't have wanted that. They wanted more value. You had to give up the better player. That's why they did it. Appreciate you guys being with us. Hope you guys are loving the content, loving the show. El Pinche, Jokic, under? Yeah, I'd probably lean towards the under. Majomes, I don't think Belichick's going to the XFL or UFL or whatever we're calling it these days. Doghouse breaks. Talking about the good teams in the league, OKC Thunder. Doghouse breaks, you are so right. And what I love about the OKC Thunder, I actually think they're proving that the process that the 76ers failed to deliver on is actually possible. The Thunder said they were going to lose. They traded good players to acquire assets, to acquire draft picks, and I think they've done a brilliant job. That team is young. That team is talented. They have a superstar to build around. They potentially could have 2 if Chet turns into that, but SGA is a bona fide superstar. I love everything about OKC, and they're going nowhere. That team is going to be good as long as Josh Giddey, keeps it above age, if you know what I'm saying. If that team stays healthy and doesn't get into legal trouble, that team could be good for the next 5-6 years. Jorge, Wemby or Chet, Rookie of the Year? Personally, I'm giving it to Wemby. And I'm not making it about the team. I'm making it about the player. Wembanyama has absolutely been as good as advertised, if not better. And I think that the Spurs are overprotecting him, which is going to negatively impact his ability to make an argument about Rookie of the Year. But if I line them up head to head, I think Wembanyama has been better than Chet has this year. Doghouse break. Sam Presti is a genius. Sam Presti deserves all the credit in the world because that dude had a plan. He stuck to it. Everyone was kind of laughing at him like, how many draft picks can you possibly have? You know what? He figured it out. He found the perfect number. I think Sam Presti did a brilliant job. And the Paul George SGA trade, it's funny, Paul George was like, that ended up being a really fair trade. We'll see, Paul George. You hope it is. You hope you win a title, because I wouldn't be surprised if the Thunder win a title with SGA. Will the Clippers ever win a title with Paul George? We'll have to see. Appreciate you guys being with us. I'm going to sign off from today's show. Hope you guys loved every single second of it. I will be back tomorrow, because now that I am over my health spell, my health issue, I was sick there for a couple days. That's why I was off the air. Now I'm back to full health. I will be back on the air on TikTok, YouTube, Twitch, and Kick almost every day. I'll be back live at 5 p.m. tomorrow, 5 p.m. Eastern time tomorrow. So if you guys want to join the show tomorrow, Make sure you hit us up. Make sure you join, follow, subscribe, do all those fun things. 5 p.m. Eastern time tomorrow, we will be back on live talking sports, sports betting, fantasy sports, getting you ready for the weekend. So make sure you join us, make sure you follow, and as always, stay healthy, stay safe, and I'll see you tomorrow, everybody. Have a great night. Goodbye, everybody.